insights, panels, and speeches. We're going to do a quick icebreaker. You've got 1 minute each. The person who goes the furthest over a minute is buying dinner for the whole panel this evening. So, starting with you, Kristian, over there. If you could tell me in 1 minute, no longer, about your role and one thing you think the audience won't know about yourself. The clock's running.
Thank you, Denis. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. So I'm co-founder and deputy CEO at the Football Business Academy, and since 2017, we've been on a mission to accelerate the professionalization of the football industry. And what that means is essentially we try to offer different educational offerings to the industry, both for career switchers as well as executives in the game. And so we have our flagship program, which is the Professional Master in Football Business, and we also have done executive programs for the likes of the AFC, ECA, and others. And one thing about me, it's not all about football in my life, and actually, I grew up as a tennis player. I've done marathons and ultra marathons, and more recently, I've picked up on paddle.
Fantastic.
Not buying dinner tonight.
Yeah.
51 seconds. Benny?
Yeah, I'm Benjamin, Managing Director for Borussia Dortmund in East Asia, live in Shanghai, and we're bringing the football passion to Asia, at least we try. And thing about me, I gotta admit, I'm a terrible friend after 9 p.m. at night. Usually then my energy level is gone. That's why I insisted to have that early panel today.
You got what you wanted. That's it. MJ, and yourself?
Hello, my name is Minju Kim from Korea Professional Football League, K-League. Now being responsible for the league's international business, including the media rights sales, the partnership sponsorship, to increase the awareness in the international market, and at the same time to deliver our the value and identity to global audiences. And I would say the one thing about me is I play drum. So if any of you here or there would want to create the band or like need any drum session, just hit me up anytime.
There you go. The first band ever formed at World Football Summit, so you know where to sign up. Finally, Pedro.
Hi, I'm Pedro Moreira Santos. I'm head of talent and partnership at Polaris Sports. Polaris Sports is the commercial arm of JST Foot. I've been working with players like Cristiano Ronaldo, Jose Mourinho, James Rodriguez, and more recently with Lamine Yamal, broking some of the deals that you see right now. And I think something that you don't know about me is that I didn't like football. My passion was motorsport, but I ended up working in football for more than 18 years.
Wow. Motorsport, drums, triathlons, padel. Fantastic.
One thing about you, Denis, come on.
Well, people will be wondering why I have one N in my name, and I'm not French. I'm actually named after Denis Law, very famous Manchester United football player from the past. So, yeah,
Yes,
hence,
nice.
I got a woo there. Things are going to turn around, don't worry. Okay, so we're talking about partnerships today, predominantly focusing on Asia. So, Benny, I'm going to start with you. You've been based in China for many years, working across Southeast Asia. For BVB, when you're looking to identify a partner and you're looking to work with a partner for a few years, what is it you're looking for? Are you looking for a certain DNA that will match with the club? Are you looking for something for a bit different so you can really broaden the scope? Talk me through the stage of identifying and then working with a local partner in Asia.
Yeah. I mean, you know Borussia Dortmund, or at least everyone knows us. We are usually chasing on the pitch those big clubs. We are not soaked in money. Basically, part of our, or a major part of our revenue model is the youth football development. So we're chasing those big clubs. And in our youth football academy, we call that challenger approach. We tell those young guys, you can make it as Borussia Dortmund and then rumble with the very big clubs. And this is what we transform into partnerships as well, right? So we're talking to challenger brands, those old, sophisticated, strong brands. They might go with the top 5 European clubs. We are still top 10, but maybe not top 5. And then we speak to those brands if they want to enter the European market, right? Use the freshness, the young spirit of Borussia Dortmund to enter a market. Huawei did that back then. They did the Wi-Fi in our stadium, right? To have a good reputation in Europe. We do it now with solar brands. We do it with cartoon brands, usually brands who are coming into Europe.
And when you're talking about these brands, if we're looking at Chinese brands or brands from Thailand or Indonesia, are you seeing different approaches for different regions? So brands in Indonesia, are they asking for different things than a brand in China would be, for example?
We see it heavily in China that the Chinese brands want to go abroad. That's significant within the last years. We used to have more regional partnerships down here in Asia, but now more and more brands from Asia expanding into Europe, and then they're using football clubs. That got way more. And
why is that, do you think, that Chinese brands are really looking abroad now?
They're getting stronger, I guess, right? They had many years where they learned from the West, I guess, and now they're strong enough to expand their markets.
Nice. MJ, I'll turn to you, looking at the K-League and really trying to grow the profile of the league globally through broadcast deals, partnerships. How does that look for you when you're going into different territories and planning your conversations with partners and brands? Are you going one size fits all, or are you really going and prioritizing certain regions? And
I would say we definitely do have a key market as a league, and currently our key markets are Japan and Southeast Asian regions, because these two regions are not only geographically close and having a similar time zone, but also they already have very strong football culture already in their local market and have great consumption power in their local football, the industry. And furthermore, when it comes to business expansion as a league, especially for the international market, we try to approach with the culture elements, because it not only helps us to reduce the entry barrier when jumping into new markets, and able us to approach to a lot of the consumer side. I mean, like broader the range of the consumers. So, in that sense, these two regions have been showing great growing interest in Korean culture lately, and also it really helps to create some sort of like a culture breach, so that the K-League can be relatable to not just a football fan, but also for the non-football fan, right? And also, not only that, as a football perspective, K-League has been positioning ourselves as a launchpad league. And providing competitive performance in the league and the environment, both for the professional players as well as the younger players, before them going into the world stage. So these sort of having this like these two key market really helps us to demonstrate ourselves in the players' development pyramid in the global football society.
Have you had any regions you've gone into that have surprised you from either a really positive standpoint, going, oh wow, I didn't expect this to be so good, or is there a region where you've gone in with a real energy and positivity and it's not quite worked out?
We are still trying to, make some of the foothold and some sort of the K-League atmosphere for those two regions. But lately, we had the public viewing party in Tokyo actually in May, which we live streamed one of the matches, and by inviting, having some sort of events for the fans, some sort of making the engagement, the event for the fans, by inviting the local press, fans, the press. And I mean, the long story short, the result itself was very successful, which we really didn't expect. And I think the key core point that we did and made a shift in with this event is that we tried to make some of the interaction moment, making some sort of the engaging and interaction and atmosphere, making like emotional connection within the local market, because we know that for the new markets and new consumer, it always required for them to have like a lead time to get used to and get familiar with, like, quote unquote, the unfamiliar contents. So having some sort of like the extensive experiences that we can convert the new fans and new market into the long-term stakeholder really help us to make some of the base and like a foundation in the Japanese market lately.
Excellent. Pedro, I'll turn to you. You dropped some pretty big names in your opening speech, Yamal, Mourinho. With all this talent, when you're looking to identify partnerships, looking for brands to go, do you have your eye on regions? Do you find a talent and go, I know that region's going to be great? Or do you really have to do a lot of research, go exploring, vet a lot of brands and narrow it down? Talk us through that process of going from, okay, we have this talent, we're going to go to market.
Sure. Well, I think we can speak about two different type of players. So we have the ones that have global reach and the ones that are more regional. So the ones that are more global, like Lamine, like Ronaldo, like Jose Mourinho, so the market, it's everywhere. So of course we prioritize some markets that we know that has a strong appeal for brands and for names. Like China, in Japan, in Asia, but now we see also US coming and appear with appetite for football. Then when the other type of player that are more regional, then of course we have to do a different work. We have to chase for opportunities on that region, and of course we also need to understand what the brand needs. So normally we are on the end part of the decision making. So normally the brand has the campaign, and then they need a player or a talent, and then when that moment comes, they already have some kind of idea what they want. So what we need to tell them is that Lamine is better than Mbappe or better than Vinicius. So we need to show them that, and of course we try to collect all the data and that we can and work on that.
Tough decisions to make between very, very good players.
Yes.
And how are you finding that, those conversations that you're having out here in China or Greater China or Asia compared to what you would have in the West with brands? Is it quite different? Do you really have to adapt culturally and get those nuances and maybe be a little bit more open to things that happen a little bit differently here?
Yes, I think, well, when you mention Asia, you mention a lot of countries, so it's very different. It's the same that talking about Europe and Portugal is different from Germany, so Asia is the same. So talking about, I think for us, our major two countries, which is China and Japan in Asia, I think there's quite a big difference. I think Japan has a lot of respect for the sport, and China is all about scale, digital-driven, and engagement, community engagement. And give an example. So remember the Brazilian World Cup when Colombia beat Japan and James Rodriguez destroyed the Japanese team. And that year we made 3 deals with Japanese companies with James Rodriguez. That is impossible anywhere in the world. So they respect the sport. So when you are dealing with brands in these countries, it really, you need to adapt to the local culture, of course, and you also need to have the right asset for them, for sure.
Nice. Kristian, when you're looking to grow your course, your product, your brand internationally, and you're coming out to this area of the world, how are you approaching these partnerships, or how are you approaching different universities or different people to get them to come onto your courses and buy into the product?
So on the master's side, we have students from all over the world. So a typical cohort, let's say of 30, 35 students, will have at least 20 nationalities covering all continents. That's obviously part of the benefits of being part of the program, because you really get that global perspective on how football is run in different countries. Our faculty members, they themselves are people working in the football industry across the world as well, so you really have that cross-pollination of ideas and best practices. When we look at the partnership side, we have, again, partners all over the world. The last one we signed in Asia was actually the K-League, which for 2.5 years now we've been doing really amazing stuff with. But with the partnerships, I think at the end of the day, what's most important for us, regardless of which country or region it is having that kind of like top-down buy-in of why they want to do it. Like why do they want to get in front of our talent, the students that we educate in football business, and get new ideas from them, get different perspectives of them. Obviously, with the K-League, as I mentioned before, we've sent them a Dutch student doing an internship, a Danish one, and an Indonesian one. On the other side as well, we have partnerships with European clubs such as Benfica, Espanyol, or Wolverhampton Wanderers, and we've done internships or projects with them where they wanted to get to know more about Asia, so we send them Asian students, right? So it's really depending on why do they want to do it, and the benefits I think for them oftentimes is that the education is really high quality. And then on the executive education side, for 2.5 years we were the academic partner of the AFC, so we helped them set up the Academic Center of Excellence. We created 2 programs from scratch. One was targeted at, let's say, more entry-level staff members of the member associations. The other one more to mid-level and senior-level people. And when we approached that challenge, it was a lot about, okay, like, let's not just copy what works in Europe and paste it in those programs. We really took a lot of time and effort to understand what are the local needs and challenges of the market and adapt the content uniquely for that. As Pedro said, though, again, Asia obviously covers a lot of different markets, different maturities, different educational levels, and so even though the curriculum might be the same, for everyone taking a specific course, it's adapted to the Asian market, and then we take a lot of kind of like personalization in addition to the educational content to make sure that the people can adapt it to their local market.
Excellent. So you've all talked about identifying partnerships, doing partnerships together, some cases on this stage. What equals success for you? And I don't just want to hear money, because we all know that at the end of the day that's what it's about, but if you dig a little bit deeper for these partnerships, what are your personal goals, what are your company goals to get out of these? MJ, if I come to you, if you're going into different markets, whether it's broadcast deals, partnerships, if you take away the money side of things, what are you really trying to achieve from a corporate standpoint?
I mean, the commercial, like revenue-wise, I mean, it's definitely important, to get promoted. I mean, like, get the revenue, making the business model. But I would say our mission as a league in the international market, which market we are going to, or like which business we are pursuing to, I would say creating a more the sustainable framework, business framework, some sort of framework that we can not just like the club and the league, but also all the stakeholders, including the clubs, I mean the fans, the business partner, even for the players, can grow together and making ourselves become more of trust and long-lasting part of the global football society. Yeah.
Kristian, for you, these sort of partnerships that you're doing, getting more people involved in the courses, outside of the making money, what are you looking to do with your company?
So, as I mentioned in my introduction, our mission is to accelerate the professionalization of the football industry, right? Which implies that it's not professionalized as many other industries, so it's a journey, right? It's a process. And in that context, what's most important for us is the employability and the career development that our learners, whether it's on the master's or on the executive courses, can have over time, right? And so when we look at the impact of the partnerships, it's, how can they uniquely help our students to make that transition? Because a lot of them are career switchers, right? They don't come from football. They may have studied business or law or engineering. We've had firefighters, bartenders, you name it. We see a potential in a student. We give them a chance. And those partnerships are very important to give them hands-on experience through the internships, through the student business projects, through the field trips that we do, through the networking opportunities that we offer them. And so what the partners, get in return, of course, are different ideas, different perspectives. But for the students, having those unique opportunities to collaborate with the partners directly, I think is a key differentiator. And so indirectly or sometimes directly, they, offer jobs to our students, or they give them an experience that helps them maybe land a job further down the line.
Nice. And Pedro, I think we'll come at this from a talent standpoint. Obviously, they're going to work with a brand. They want the payday. But outside of that, when you're speaking to the talent, what are they looking to get out of it outside of pure commercial? Like, building their profiles. What else is in it for them to really change their mind?
Yeah, I think also depends on where they are at the career standpoint. But I think all of them, what they are looking for is long-term relationship with the brand. So having the kind of endorsement deal that ends every year and then you have to find another one, new category, new people, that's not the best scenario, of course. So they want long-term relationship, and with that also building other opportunities, like having IPs, creating co-products with the brand. So I think this is what the player also wants. And also, of course, I think we are now in the time of that the traditional media is no longer the place where you can promote and leverage your talent. So now you use social media, and more than that, also the power of the brands. So I think now the brands are the ones that can push the players on a different level. So sometimes, like you mentioned, money is always important, of course, but then you can get bigger money or bigger budget from smaller brand. But I think the top players, what they really want is global reach and someone that can help building their brand together with him.
And are you seeing more sort of want from these players to come and do deals in places like Hong Kong, mainland China, and other areas here? Are they knocking on your door saying, I want to be doing deals over there?
I think it's a mix. So we have recently, I've been here in China with Yamal, and in Japan with Felix. Yamal with Adidas, and Japan with Mizuno. And it was really interesting because at the beginning they were saying, well, it's tough to go there. Asia is very far away. I have short holidays. But then, of course, they understood that they should come, and they not only they come for an activation, but they come to really know the culture, understand the country, being close to the fans, and they really enjoy the cities and the countries, and they want to come back. So now we have something that is they can trust on the relationship that they build with the brand and the country. So that makes a difference for sure.
Yeah, so it's anticipation of.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Benny.
Yeah, fully agree on that, and I think we got it in both directions, right?
Yeah.
We got the people from headquarter, our youth football teams who are coming to Asia, recently especially to China. They're amazed and surprised, like how it looks like here. It always feels different, tastes different, but we got it the other way around. When the Chinese players or Japanese players are coming to Dortmund, they also go back to Asia. That's a very nice connect, where you connect the nations a bit.
Yeah.
And Benny, to stay with you, you've been part of a lot of deals with the club over China, Southeast Asia. Again, outside of the money, what have you seen? Because you've had some long-term partners, and have they come to fruition? What's really surprised you? Has anything made you unhappy through these? Like, what's your feelings?
Yeah, I think we touched the corporate goals, reach, engagement, and monetary. Recently, we did a lot of cross-brand, cross-sports promotion with Borussia to reach new audiences. That worked very well. You might have seen it a couple of seconds ago with Transformers, Bumblebee, the black and yellow car, something not really football related, but you reach suddenly a huge new audience, happy kids who talk about it, special collections with SpongeBob, also young brand. And my absolute favorite was One Piece last summer. We went to Japan with our team, we played matches there, and then the players were interacting with the One Piece characters. And on the other way around, One Piece wants to enter the European market. Everyone knows them here in Asia, but in Europe they want to be more famous, and then they used our stadium with a special edition of cards. So that was one of my favorites for the brand partnerships.
Yeah, I think interesting what you said about collaborating with industries outside of football. And I think, MJ, this is a good segue to you and South Korea, particularly with K-pop. There's anime in Japan. Can you talk us a bit about how you're utilizing and collaborating with industries like K-pop to really help grow the league, grow its global exposure?
As I briefly touched upon the previous question, when it comes to the new business or like especially for the international side, we really try to make a connection and collaborate with other industrial elements, especially for the cultural elements, because again, it definitely helps to lower the entry barrier for us before when we are planning to jumping into the new market, and at the same time, it really helps us to reach out to all the different angles of the customers there. We have not had any the good example or a good case of directly collaborating with the K-pop or any K-drama or any some sort of stuff, but we are very much open to have some sort of collaborating moment with a cultural element and asset as much as we can, so that again, it will definitely lower the hurdles, so that we can be able to more have the emotional connection again with the football fan and non-football fan, and being able us to go further the market.
For you, Pedro, how wide are you willing to go in terms of looking at the brands and the industries that are coming to partner with your talent? Is there areas where they won't go, or is it very much an open door for any type of brand or collaboration to come through?
Oh, I think it also depends on the storytelling that the brand is happy to do. I think I'll give him one example that is very related to the region as well. You probably remember Shopee, the brand. You remember the commercial of Shopee. When we first saw it, we said, no way, this is no way. And then we pitched it to Ronaldo, and Ronaldo said, I want to do this, because we understand also the culture. And in Europe was seen as something funny, but in Asia it won a lot of prizes. So this is the difference. So to be honest, we are open-minded when we speak with a brand or when we look to a brand, especially now that we have a lot of new brands coming in, new categories. I will give an example as well. A few years ago, suddenly NFTs were probably 80% of the revenue of football and the players as well. Then suddenly disappear. So you have to have your open mind to these and to these brands. So.
Nice. And Kristian, going over to you, the sports industry, particularly the football industry, it's still quite small. So you're trying to get students, get people to enroll in your course. I mean, just in this building, there's a fruit convention going on, and there's like 100,000 people there, and it's like, why are so many people more interested in fruit than football? You know, that's what I was asking myself. So
it's our fault.
It's like, yeah, exactly. So how are you trying to get into, people that are not necessarily that interested in sport, but to change their mindset to get them interested in sport?
To be honest, I think, well, first of all, I think fruit is just healthier for you, especially if you are a fan of a team that doesn't win many titles. But jokes aside, actually, in most cases, students come to us because, as I said before, like they come from so many different backgrounds. Most of them are career switchers. And most of them, at some point in their life, say, like, what am I doing with my life? Am I happy? I may make a lot of money in my law or finance job, but it doesn't really fulfill me, right? And so having that passion for football already, they're the ones that have that, mind switch at some point, whether it's in their early 20s or whether it's in their 40s sometimes as well. And then they say, okay, like I want to work in football. I don't understand football. I want to understand, how the football industry works. I want to get the knowledge, the experience, the network. And so most of the times, it's them coming to us. Of course, we have a great marketing team that does a great, strategy in terms of making ourselves aware in different territories. And then, with the retargeting and everything, people kind of like, they keep seeing our ads or they keep hearing about us. And then at some point, they make the decision to come in and apply. And then our admissions team, takes their time to really understand who is who and what is their driver. And we try to understand whether they're a good fit for us and whether we're a good fit for them, because it's not always the case. And we have to be very selective because of the fact that we work so closely together with our football industry partners. But then as soon as, we see that drive, we see that potential, we see the motivation in them, the journey becomes so much easier. And they, of course, then, get into a classroom full of like-minded people that are equally passionate about football, want to improve football, want to develop the game and bringing new ideas and best practices from other industries. I don't think quite yet we had any student coming from the fruit industry, but maybe that'll happen after this week.
You're going over straight after this panel.
Yeah, doing some lead sourcing.
Excellent. It's all been very positive, which is great, but I think, we're sitting in Hong Kong out here, and it would be remiss of us not to, see what's going on in Saudi. World Cup's coming. America's got the World Cup and the Olympics, and there's a lot of attention and there's a lot of money going over to that side of the world. Benny, how are you pivoting? Are you doing the same? Are you changing? Like, what are you doing to ensure that China, Southeast Asia stays as a very high priority market for your club?
That's almost a football philosophy question. We can all see that the football is becoming more and more entertainment, right? It's partly good from a football heart perspective. Sometimes it hurts a bit as well. Crazy money within the last, I'd say, 8 to 10 years, right? Countries invest in football, oil companies, investment funds. Some healthy development on this, but also it gets a bit unequal, right? Especially with us, with the Bundesliga, not only Borussia Dortmund, we got that 50+1 rule, so the majority of a club has to stay with the club, with the people. We're not allowed that someone takes over. And that leads us money-wise, or brings us money-wise way behind, for example, EPL. It gives us stable ticket prices. You can see a match of Borussia Dortmund for 40 euros. You got stable kickoff times every Saturday, 3:30 basically, right? That's why you got away fans. Not sure if you've been to Germany on a Saturday, fans are traveling. So within that cosmos, we're fighting for our space for Borussia Dortmund side, and especially our CEO, Mr. Watzke. He's very influential in UEFA, in FIFA, and we're fighting for that financial fair play, right? That we have a certain structure with equals and levels the European football. That's we see that in the US, the most capitalistic country in the world got the most socialism system, not because they love that socialism system, but they know how to market it, right? So the weakest club gets the best player. They got salary cuts. We don't want it on that extent, but it shows if you want to have an attractive league in Europe, it can't be that some clubs don't care about money and other clubs rely on, do I sell 10 scarves or 20 scarves? So I think that's something above football on the pitch where we need a better structure in Europe.
And for you, Kristian, are you seeing sort of an increase of willingness from people to study in certain regions, in America or Saudi? Are you getting students asking, I want to learn more about, Saudi sports industry because that's where it seems to all be happening? Is there a shift or?
Definitely, yeah. I would say in the first few years of our program, a lot of the students wanted to do their internships in Europe. They wanted to get that European experience. But then a few years ago, things started to shift. And so more and more, I think now people are open-minded and interested to do experiences in other continents, right? So we send students to Korea, to Mexico, to Brazil, wherever you may imagine. And I think that's good for football. I think it's not all about Europe. Obviously, the rest of the world as well has great things to offer in terms of the learning experience, in terms of getting to understand the football culture in those different markets. And I think again that cross-pollination of perspectives and experiences is something that is going to make the football industry only better, because we shouldn't stay in our silos. I think football is a global game. I'm sure that for clubs such as Borussia Dortmund, it's very important as well to strike that balance between how do you, quote unquote, service your local fans versus maybe the international fans that may never get to go to Dortmund, right? I think with the students as well, it's very important. And then regardless of where they end up working, they can bring those experiences, they can bring those different perspectives into their careers, and then hopefully that whole football ecosystem, as Benny also insinuated, becomes a bit more balanced, and people understand why is X entity or club doing this, and what are the benefits of it.
Nice. And MJ, are you changing your strategy based on where World Cups are going to be taking place in the next 4, 8, 12 years?
I would say, as like a short term, like a commercial wise, the things could be changed. I mean, like the where to focus more on like where we should like activate the short-term marketing. But I mean, again, our core mission is to make something sustainable model for wherever we are pursuing or wherever we are going to. So try to make the growing spot, I mean like the foundation first could be the short term, the key market, and slowly growing out, expanding out our sustainable model so that we can franchise and apply to other markets. So.
Nice. I think, how are we doing for time? Okay. Yes, for you, Pedro, with your talent, with your company, is there more deals? Is there more sort of offers coming in from the US, from Saudi, from these countries which are investing a lot of money into the sport?
Sure. Well, in Saudi, we have a lot of players there, and we see what is happening, and we saw it a long time ago. And but our business, basically it runs on endorsement deals, and the time period it's during the World Cups and the Euro is where our deals are made. And of course, we are entering a period that is very interesting because we have the World Cup in the US, and then we have the one in Portugal, Spain, and Morocco, and then ends up in Saudi. So this period will be perfect, especially when you have a player like Lamine Yamal that is Spanish, but from Morocco as well. And we see now that there's a lot of US brands coming in and partnering with players, something that we never saw until now. So with Lamine Yamal, we have 3 US brands. But of course, we've been doing deals with China since 2004, and it stopped during the COVID, but it's picking up again. So I think, again, this is global. Global brands want to take a piece of this time of the World Cup, so it's totally global.
Nice. And I'll finish on a quick fire for each of you, 30 seconds each this time. What's next? What's the next big announcement, partnership, thing coming up for all of you? If you can't say the name of the partner, that's okay, but it'd be good to end on what's in your pipeline. Pedro, I'll start with you.
Well, I would say definitely Lamine Yamal. We have a lot of news to tell. I cannot announce.
Looking forward to it. MJ?
We are planning for a lot of the IP collaboration side, not just for the general sponsorship, but with the brands or like character that you would know. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Very much
we are coming with the team next summer, 2026, to Asia and hopefully to Hong Kong.
Breaking news. Woo! And finally, Kristian, what's next?
So I'm flying to Thailand on Saturday because on Monday we have a signing ceremony with one of the big clubs out there. So looking forward to get to know the club there and make the announcement, as that will help us, to strengthen our positioning in the region.
Wonderful. Well, appreciate all of your time today. Fascinating discussion. If you can join me in thanking this wonderful panel.
Yeah.